Hello, and welcome to Covert Castaway. I'm Holly.
Je suis Stéphane.
Join us as we share what we learn and how we're making the transition to liveaboard cruising. So we are in beautiful Greece, and we wanted to talk about today a bunch of places we visited. We're just continue to be enchanted and amazed by the beautiful turquoise color of the water. We're sitting in a bay here. It's called Vathasiki Bay. Is that right? He's looking at it up. In Greece, which is just south of Lefkada, Vatha Valley. That's where we are right now. You want to describe the scene a little bit and some of the stuff going on in the background?
Yeah, this bay, there seems to be a town over there on the east side, but where we are, it's just a beach and a little restaurant. So it seems like to get there, you basically need to come by boat. Mm-hmm. So you have motorboats coming during the day, and then we have about 8 or 10 monohulls and catamarans anchored around us.
We have the bugs in the background. Seagulls in the background, so you can hear that.
We have the humming sound of the water maker.
A little bit of humming from the water maker, yep.
Yeah, because our next stop is just going to be an hour away on the island of Mykonos, and we're probably going to find, hopefully, a spot where we can stay for 4 or 5 days. So we typically don't make water at anchor, but this is pretty open bay and far away from big cities and stuff. So we decided to get some water done. So that's the buzzing sound you hear in the background, and then you might hear the waves.
A little bit of waves. There's a couple kids on the beach too. It's really cool. It's the morning, and we were sitting here sort of waiting for our water maker to get a head start before we pick up anchor and go to our next destination. So we have a lot to cover because we've been to some amazing places. I think last time we spoke, we had arrived in Paxos in this beautiful bay. Like I said, the blues aren't like anything I've ever seen. I mean, maybe in Grand Cayman in the Caribbean, you know, that color blue, but I mean, it's Greece, so it's beautiful. So we went to Paxos, and we were staying in a bay there called Laka Paxos, and we stayed there a few days. It's a small little fishing town, you know, a little bit of tourist shops and restaurants and cafes, but it wasn't like a big city at all. It was what you would imagine when you go to a little Greek town. Some amazing food. We found a vegetarian-friendly, vegan-friendly place. And then the couple that we're with, Vu and Bella, who we're buddy boating with, which is actually going to be a topic of our next podcast, they were with us too. So we did that. We took a walk over the hill. What was it, like a couple hours? On the other?
Yeah, 2+ hours for sure.
Yeah.
Well, initially we were going to rent scooters and... Oh no, rent a car. We decided we'll rent a car, maybe go around the island, but
we ended up walking. We needed the exercise.
Any cars available until noon.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, let's start walking.
Yeah, I mean, what's happening is we're on the boat a lot, and we're going from place to place, and we're eating out a lot, and so I think all of us are excited to get exercise when we can. Although you're doing pretty good on your HIIT workouts and stuff on the boat. I tend to just siesta, but. It's pretty good. So we marched over to Gaios, which is a larger destination, a much bigger town, a lot more touristy types of things. We had a nice dinner there. And anything you want to mention about that?
I mean, it's you can anchor outside. But most boats, it's kind of a channel between an island and the coast of the
Right.
small island next to the bigger island. And so it's kind of a channel, and people get in there and anchor back to the quay.
The med mooring, yeah.
Yeah, mid-mooring style. It seems like from 10 in the morning to I think 5 in the afternoon, certain spots are reserved for touristic boats, like who make a living for pickup tourists.
They do the day trips.
Day trip type stuff, yeah. So it seems that some people came before 5 and found a spot because maybe it's still slow season, maybe, or but we saw also people coming late and suddenly have to go back and forth and try to find a spot. So this is this is really, if you want to, you're kind of right in the heart of the town. And I mean, it's a beautiful little town.
Yeah, we found this little coffee shop / they have the cafe bar things right there on the quay. What was it called? Point Vecchio or something. It was really cute. And we sat there for an hour or two. I don't know, just chatting.
It was under the shade and the trees.
And I remember saying to myself, this is a new concept for me. Like normally in the U.S., you kind of grab your Starbucks and you're off to your next destination, or even to save more time, you order it on your cell phone app and then you just run in and pick it up. Sitting at a cafe for an hour or two doing nothing it's just, I'm so grateful for the moment and just taking it in and appreciating it for what just being able to do that is an incredible life change, at least for me. So that was really, really cool.
That and going to bed later.
Yeah, going to bed later. So the Greek, we'll get on to the destinations in a minute, but the Greek culture is more like they wake up, they have their day, starts probably around 9:30. It starts, and then all the stores and stuff are open till about 1:30, 2 o'clock-ish. And then everything shuts. I mean, there's not a soul in the street.
Some restaurants and stuff.
Some, but
it definitely gets quiet.
Yeah, and like it's like everybody vanishes, and we're like, where are all the people? And we're walking around trying to do stuff, and like we just realized there's nothing going on. It's like a Sunday or something. And then people things start opening back up around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then everybody comes out around 7, eats around.
Oh, eats more like 9, 10.
I was going to say 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and we like to partake in the zucchini balls and the tzatziki and some of this other. Well, I cheat with tzatziki. But you've been having vegetarian risotto. I've been having seafood, and then you're really full, and then you go to bed at like 11 midnight or something like that. So, so it's been a nice adjustment to that kind of thing. And we're like, well, what do people do during the day? And I think they just lounge and nap.
Well, it gets hot.
It's so hot,
so it's normal. That's kind of Southern Europe.
Yeah, hot and humid. There's not much to do. I mean, people swim and chill, basically. So that's kind of what that schedule has been like. So when we were in Paxos as well, you met a bunch of French boats, and
I tend to take the standard paddleboard and then
find the French people.
Yeah, if I see a French flag, flag from Brittany, that's a no-brainer. I'll stop by.
Yeah, we raised the Brittany flag on our boat, so we're getting a lot more French people waving and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But then the the Euro soccer tournament was going on, and you were going to see boats, and you were going to go meet up with a boat, Jean-Francois, that you met to watch the game and stuff on land.
That was, back in Corfu. But, we've been, it's funny because not making any plans to meet, people pretty much, or at least people who cruise as opposed to charter, we're going to be moving slowly and we're going to hit some of the major destinations. So totally without
kinda
any
go to the
plans.
same- yeah.
We just kind of find each other.
Find each other, yeah.
And he came in Preveza yesterday or the night before, and then he saw our boat. Now our boat is easy to spot because we have big stickers on the bows.
Yeah.
And then so he's like, oh, I'll stop by. And he was looking for a boat, and I just saw him walking by, and they were like, oh, Jean-Francois.
Yeah. So people are
that's fun.
super friendly, and we've had no problem meeting new people at all. It's been great. So that was Gaios, and so then we took a taxi back, and I think we stayed one more day.
Yeah, 1 or 2 more days just to take it easy. It was
so beautiful. We had a great spot. We had us and our buddy boat were next to each other, backed up. We had stern tie lines to the rocks. We had like this private little spot in this amazing kind of bay. So it was really awesome. We weren't bothered too much by a lot of the traffic. And I know last time we complained a lot about the noise, and I'll stop complaining about that. But the tight quarters just really make us on edge and get us nervous. Everything's kind of close. So let's see. From there, we went to Antipaxos, which was sort of a whim. We were told about it, and we were like, I don't know if we need to go there. But we ended up going to, there's like 3 little bays, and the one in the middle is really popular.
Antipaxos is just southeast of Paxos. It's really close.
Which is a funny name, right? It's like Paxos, and then Antipaxos is like, I don't want to be like you. I want to not be like you, so I'm going to call myself Antipaxos. Something. It's like a weird name, but it's
So there are multiple bays,
Yeah.
but they seem to be like a primary destination where tourist boats from Paxos, maybe from mainland, I don't know, brings people to, and we cannot really understand why.
to the middle of the bay. To the middle bay, you mean?
There are a couple different bays. We're talking about the northeast side,
Right.
but that seems to be a primary destination. Probably because one, it's close to Paxos, so that's easy for them to make the crossing and drop people there. There's probably a good situation where they can tie, because those bigger boats where they bring hundreds of tourists for the day or for the afternoon, they tie up to rocks. So they must have a good spot. They might have an agreement with the restaurants in this bay. But it was also in Navili seen as like a great bay.
It was the place to go.
Yeah.
So of the bays, he's talking about, one of them was like the destination spot, like the one where you go. So we were sort of moseying over there, and
it's called Mesovica Beach.
Yeah.
Sorry if I not pronouncing
our Greek
this
isn't
well.
very good.
And the other one is Paralia Vutumi.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the popular tourist destination, the place you've got to go on the Antipaxos to check out.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look on Google, it's like, beach for these 2 places. So right next to it, north of it, there's this little spot. So what happened is we kind of go into the main beach where everybody says to go. And there was just a ton of boats.
Already, and early in the morning.
And it was like 10 a.m., wasn't it? Yeah. And so we're like, we're not going to do that. So maybe what we'll do is we'll try to anchor or tie up on the beach next to it, to the north of it.
Which is called Paralia Vica.
Paralia Vica.
Vrica.
And
Paralia
Vrinka. And we were like, okay, well, so we'll just anchor the boat there, and then we'll take the paddleboard and we'll go check out this really cool beach. So we
anchor later at 5
when people leave. Yeah. So that was our plan. So we come into this other little bay, and there was it was smaller, and there was a catamaran pulling up anchor and leaving, which was perfect. So we started to take their spot, and we were like, oh my God, this is incredible. I mean, it was like that deep turquoise blue that got to bright turquoise that gets to like clear at the beach. The water was like super clear, warm, and the sand was like stepping on a velvet blanket. I mean, it was just incredible, this beach.
So far, the best sand by a mile.
Yeah, by a mile. I mean, the sand, because a lot of the beaches here in Greece are rocky, or they have coarse sand, And big rocks, of course, sand and little rocks to big rocks. It just depends. But this beach was just amazing. I don't even know if I want to put a pin in it in Navali and like share it with people. It was so crazy good.
Yeah.
And so then our buddy boat came up and they found a spot. And then Electron, who is owner, another 47 owner who we had seen in Paxos, was trying to anchor there too, but there just wasn't enough space with all the day boats there. So he kind of went on, and we met up with him later in Preveza. But we spent the night there. When we were there that night, all the day boats left. We were the only people on the beach aside from maybe one other couple.
They came with a small motorboat that was going to leave later in the evening.
Yeah, and there were no boats. So this was incredible. This was a super high point, and definitely what this dream is all about. I think
we could do it is definitely less protected, this bay. But we could do this because the winds and the forecast were
super
fairly
calm.
light. And so that's definitely a high point. So far. And it was so funny because in the afternoon there were so many boats on the bay next to us. You could see them like anchoring in deeper and deeper waters, and
everything coming and going. Yeah, so we took the paddleboard around the corner because we're like, what's all the hubbub? Like, how great can it be? Like, if this beach is this great, how great is this other beach? And we were completely underwhelmed. It was vacant because all of the day boats had left, but I mean, it wasn't anything like, by miles. It was completely a different experience. So we couldn't really understand why some of these touristy areas are what they are, which is actually a good lesson, for us is, people kind of talk about and write about these spots, but there are other greater spots right around, like literally right around the corner in this case. So that was absolutely stunning, anti-Paxos. So I guess there's, Bella was saying that there's 5 Caribbean-like beaches in Greece, and so far we've been to 3 of them, and that was one of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So that was Antipaxos. So then from there we went to Preveza, right? That was our next stop. And Preveza, what we read about it was, what was the word that was used? Provincial. Some people had said it was sort of like this provincial little town. And so we didn't have any kind of expectations of what it would be.
Was people liked Preveza because it felt more like a Greek town as opposed to when we cruise and anchor somewhere. They are kind of a small Greek town, but kind of targeted towards tourist cruisers.
Right.
Versus Preveza as like marinas and, so it has plenty of boats, but it definitely has the feel of like Greek life.
Yeah.
Like, it's bigger town.
We were pleasantly delighted by Preveza because, like I said, our expectations were kind of low because it was sort of like, well, it's just sort of a pass-through town. It's not really, like Santorini, Greece, right? Like it's not that. It's more European. But when we came in, it was so cute. They had all these cute little restaurants and amazing little gift shops, and it felt really local. Like it had a little buzz and a little vibe to it. There were quite a few people out. It has a quay that goes pretty long, plus the marina. We, for the first, was it 1 or 2 nights, we anchored.
We anchored north of the
marina.
The marina, and then for 2 nights. And then because we decided to take a 2-day trip,
which we can't wait to tell everybody about.
Yeah, then we thought that was pretty safe to leave it in the bay, but it was €8 to bring the boat to the town quay.
And the marina was $120 or something a night?
$120, yeah. And that's for our boat.
So we opted for the quay, right?
And it was, we also met another 747 owner. And so it was great because before we move out of the anchorage, he was like, yeah, you have spots,
Right, we knew we could come,
to help with the lines. So we moved there, which allowed us to get access to electricity and
Wash off the boat.
wash the boat and it has some advantages. The disadvantages is
It's right on the quay. It's like on the promenade.
yeah. And people are going to be out and about until past 1
That was fine though. There wasn't a ton of, it's not like we were next to a nightclub. We were next to a restaurant and stuff, and that was all good.
The water is definitely
the water's
stagnant.
gross.
Really
at
times
gross.
it gets smelly. And of course, you don't have as much of a breeze. I mean, it's well protected. It comes.
It was hot,
but it gets hot.
But we had electricity, so we could run the AC. So.
Yeah. So I mean, it had some advantages and disadvantages, but the price was definitely.
€8 a day is like nothing
compared to 120, just like a little further in the marina.
So we stayed there a couple nights. We did some laundry, and then we decided to
refuel. Yeah, so the stop in Preveza was there's chandleries. There is definitely many stores. So
great chandlery.
It's a great spot to reprovision, to do work on the boat, to get buy parts, to refuel at the quay was very convenient. There's a guy called Victor. He comes with a diesel truck, and so we refueled. He provides different services like ice, laundry,
And it was very affordable.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about our road trip. That was incredible.
Yeah, we rented a car, and that was like really
cheap.
How much was it?
It was €80 for 2 days.
For 2 days, unlimited mileage.
Yeah.
The deductible was like €400 in case we had an accident. And
so we went to Meteora, which is a region of, is it north?
Kind of northeast.
East.
From Preveza.
And
2 hours and 40 minutes away. Well, we took the long way.
We took what we thought was the scenic route, which is the windy get car sick in the back route.
Yeah,
in this little car,
super slow,
really slow,
and then the scenery
it wasn't
was okay.
so great. But we found a deserted dam, which was kind of cool. So we did that. So where it is on the map, if you want to look it up, is Kalambaka. But if you Google Meteora, Greece, Meteora, you will find these incredible photos that don't even begin to capture the panoramic scene. It's these huge jutting rocks made of limestone that are really big, kind of like something you might be familiar with from Arizona or Utah, if you're in the States. Not as red, but white limestone. And then on the top, I think there were originally 24 monasteries built on top of these rocks. We visited, we saw 7 or 8.
Yeah,
We visited 2.5. We went to one that was sort of partially open. But this place is incredible and definitely worth the road trip. We went out there and we got the sunset. It was our anniversary, 10-year anniversary. So that was really nice. Anything else you want to share about what we saw there?
Yeah, it's when you're in town and you see those cliffs and you're like, well, how do you get there?
Yeah.
But it's really one side is just like straight
down.
Cliff. And then you can drive, or they rent electric bikes, and this way you can get to the backside and go up. But still, to get to the monasteries, it's like they have like a little bridge. I mean,
a lot of
even
stairs
when you're on the road, on the backside,
it's hard to understand how you're actually going to get inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the old days, I mean, well, still today, they bring stuff with this pulley system, and they will also they will have a ladder, like a rope ladder, so they will climb this or kind of a little net, and then they will be lifted there. So it must have been I mean, they were built in the 1400, I think.
Over a
something.
series of phases, yeah. So they're
yeah.
Greek Orthodox monasteries, and that have been around a long time and have been, built in different phases. And
they're very well maintained.
beautiful.
That was like surprising.
Stunning.
I mean, yeah, it was.
One of them, the larger one, the Meteora Grand, they call it, I guess, which was the first one we went to, looked like they were in the process of restoring some of the frescoes on the inside, the paintings. They had original manuscripts. They had, little museums that you can follow a little bit of the history. And then the second one that we went to was more modern. The rebuild seemed more modern to me, like it was new rock steps that you would see in like a beautiful mansion that was just built or something like that. Yeah, so really gorgeous.
But the tip is really the night before. You need to stay there for a night. The night before, you can go to these monasteries, and as the sun goes down, the views are incredible, and you have a sunset spot. And so there were probably like, I don't know, 50 people there.
Yeah, about.
But everybody
Spreads out, yeah.
And as the sun goes down, and you have those monasteries in the background on those cliffs, it's spectacular.
I mean,
you have another spot, kind of on one long road, that is a great spot also for both the sunset but also the sunrise. But we didn't get up at 6 o'clock.
No, we didn't.
So that's the cool thing, because you can do that road, see the monasteries from the outside, enjoy the sunset. While there are not too many people, at least at the time we were, there were not many. And the next day they open at 9 o'clock, and you want to get there early. It seems
before
like
the tour buses come.
Are coming more at 11, and it gets hot quickly. So it's a dry heat. It's different from Preveza, which is very humid. So it's
but it was
hotter,
around
but it's more
100. It was around 100 degrees, and
like 36 degrees Celsius. And but it's a dry heat, so it's different from Preveza.
Like a blanket. It was just hot. Yeah. And then we had a beautiful dinner there by a restaurant that had said it had been established in 1924 with the same recipes. So they had really authentic Greek food. They have like a little main area with a fountain and all of that. That was really cool. So that town was really cool too. But I can't stress enough, like if you're a photographer, that would be a destination to go take pictures. We posted some of the pictures on our Facebook page on Selling Alwyn, but I just, the pictures don't even capture 1% of what your eyes see in person, and maybe better photographers than us can do a better job. But there's just, it's just stunning. Absolutely incredible. So we drove back. We took the short way, the toll roads back, which were actually quite scenic and beautiful.
It's nice.
What was that little town? We took a pit stop.
Yeah,
there's this tiny little town that on the way someone had said, "Oh, if you happen to check out this town, do." And it didn't look like we were in Greece. It looked like we were in Switzerland or something.
Yeah. It's definitely a ski.
It looked, like
town.
a little. It looked like a little alpine village. And in the summer, it was lush and beautiful, but it was really hilly. They had all the houses kind of built on the side of the hill, and it's a tiny little town. But that was really beautiful.
Yeah, and the town is called Metsovo, Metsovo.
Metsovo, yeah.
And it's on the way back to Preveza anyway.
You can't miss it because there's a bunch of, on the side of the road, you'll see like all of these houses like built on the side of a hill.
Yeah. And it's definitely worth, like you have parks shaded with benches. You can see
little
that,
shops, little
you
restaurants.
can just relax, hang out.
Oh, and they had a fruit stand with, I'm not even joking, the world's best peaches. I think that was the best peach I've ever eaten in my life.
It smelled really good.
So good.
So you're attracted by the smell.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need to
eat a peach. Okay, so we drove back. We went back to Preveza, and then the next day we checked out and took off. And so we made our way through Lefkada.
Yeah, Lefkada.
But we didn't stop. You want to talk about the bridge passage?
Yeah, the bridge opens every hour. So you just, from Preveza, it's a pretty short distance.
It's a shortcut rather than going all the way around. There's a little bridge.
Yeah, and it was about an hour and a half, I think, if I remember correctly.
To get there.
Yeah, and so it's easier to do it probably in the morning as the wind builds up in the afternoon, and the easiest is definitely to time your arrival to the bridge, which was a little strange because there was a monohull in front of us that had stopped before the bridge, and we didn't know if they were just taking pictures because you have a little sandbar, and it was quite cute. There was just one woman with her umbrella on the beach. So we didn't know if they were just, taking pictures, enjoying the moment, or if they were waiting for the bridge to open.
Because the bridge is actually
outside.
Deeper in the channel.
Yeah.
And so there was a big
And then there was a motor yacht that came, a catamaran motor yacht that came behind that monohull, and
they stopped
I guess
too.
they were confused too, so they stopped behind. And then we came, and we were like, "Well, okay, the bridge."
Stefan's like, "Let's go.
The bridge is going to
party
open on the hour, so we're not at the bridge. I don't want them to be like, "Oh, no boats" or something. So I'm like, "Okay, cutting the line," and then they can do whatever they want. So we get to the bridge, and
people followed us. So
after that, people followed. And
so it was this little bridge, so the ends kind of opened up. So at first it looked like only the ends were open, and I was like, oh, we're not going to fit through there. And I went on, and someone in Navionics had said, oh, it's a 7.5 meters wide. So I was like, well, we're 7.7 meters wide, so we're not going to fit.
That didn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense because we knew our friend from Electrion went through the day before. But I got the fenders out just in case. And then, what ended up happening is the sides lifted and then the whole thing kind of turned and pivoted. And then we went through. And then on the other side, coming right at us was a whole string of monohulls.
There would be boats coming the other way.
Yeah, so there were a bunch of catamarans going one way and a bunch of monohulls going the other way. Yeah, it seemed like. So we all kind of were able to fit.
After everybody started to line up.
Properly,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it, and then we ended up here, and we're here now, and like I said, we're just waiting out our water maker to get a head start, and then we're gonna head over to what's our next destination?
Meganese. So
Meganese.
It's just 5-6 nautical miles from where we are, so it'll be a short trip, probably just motoring.
It's a little island off Lefkada to the east of Lefkada.
Mm-hmm.
And and the other thing is, I think when you have ideas about sailing in Greece, I think a lot of people, at least I did, I was thinking more about the Cyclades Islands and all of that. But as we're learning more about the Ionian Islands and seeing them and seeing what's here, it's beautiful. And you could spend multiple seasons here, I think, just in this area. And then other people that have done other parts of the Greek islands always say they wish they would have spent more time in the Ionian Islands. Mm-hmm. So we're just really grateful to be here and be able to spend some time. And then what's our kind of big picture plan over the next couple months? Because we've been here about a month, so we've got 2 more to go before we have to get to Turkey.
The general idea is we're going to spend probably 3 to 4 weeks south of Lefkada, and then in all these different islands to discover those areas like Ithaca. We'll go to Catalonia. So we're probably going to spend
Ithaca.
3-4 weeks. Yeah. And so end of July, that'll be week 7. We are in Greece. We're probably going to start heading south with the intention of rounding the Peloponnese. So we'll probably make stops. But the idea will be just round the Peloponnese, and on the other side, we don't know yet what we're going to do.
What waits for us is yet to be revealed on
Yeah.
the other side. So that's our general plan. So that'll be week, you said 7?
Yeah, 7. So we have roughly almost 13 weeks in our 90 days. So it will be a little bit over half of our time. But we need to also take into account, there's a lot of islands to see.
Yeah.
And the agency. And the Meltemi, the wind can blow sometimes for a week at a time. So you could get stuck somewhere.
Right.
And we know at some point we have to cross into Turkey. But we want to make our way northeast little by little overall. So when we are close to our time, after the 90 days, we cross to Turkey. And we will sail the northerly wind down the coast of Turkey.
Which is going to be stunning, and we won't even be able to probably touch all the places we want to see this season before we leave in December. And the other option we talked about, which I don't know if we're going to do or not, is go over to Turkey, spend some time, and then use some of our time back in Greece, maybe even fly back to places or take a ferry back to places.
Next year,
it just depends.
We'll decide.
There's a lot of different options. Yeah. So that's what we've been doing. Definitely living the dream here the last week or so as we've kind of gotten deeper into these islands in Ionia.
And that was your birthday yesterday.
Oh, it's my birthday. 52. Woohoo. Mm-hmm. And it's been really awesome. And, all this work is sort of, that we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. And, all of the things we've been kind of trying to sort out. It just all pays off because you remember what it was all for, when you see these destinations. It's been incredible. So definitely check out our Facebook page for pictures. I'm delinquent on any blogs on our website. So the most recent photos are on our Facebook page on Sailing Awen. Or drop us a note at sailingawen@gmail.com. Until next time.
Bon vent.
Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, like, or share with another covert castaway. Fair winds for now.